Welcome to NFT.NYC. We are here in the golden VIP lounge. It is so shiny here at the PlayStation Theater in Times Square, New York. And I'm very excited that you are giving us your attention. And I want to introduce you to one of the VIPs, one of the people that are here that are making things happen in the space of NFT side of blockchain. And the purpose of this is that gosh, there's several hundred people that are registered here. This place is electric, and there are 85 speakers, and so there's not a chance to really get to know people as well as this type of format. So please tell us about yourself and your company, and we'd love to get to know you.
Sure. So my name's Chris Robison, and I'm the community manager at Horde. Horde is a company that's working to create true ownership in video game items inside of the video games. So we do that through our free and open source SDK. So that's the short answer. Yeah. We have a few different products and things like that, but we got to speak here today about from true ownership to mass exodus, sort of the idea.
That seems like a path that's going to be taken one way or another.
Yeah, I think so.
So how'd you find out about this event, and why did you come?
Yeah, sure. So I was also speaking at Nifty, which was in Hong Kong earlier last year. Yeah. And Jody was there with Alex and Devin from OpenSea, so they were chatting about putting on this event back then, so I was aware of it, just kind of watched the conversation unfold and reached out to Jody and got connected. So
yeah, that's great. And how has it been? I mean, met expectations? What's the experience been like today?
Yeah, it's been good. I think the NFT community is pretty open-minded in terms of like blockchain in general and like what the potential is. It's a lot more creative and open to ideas that maybe aren't as robust as like the decentralized finance stuff that we're so used to. So it's cool to be around that creative environment, kind of see people collaborating in ways that that are exciting. So
yeah. And how about future events like this? What do you want to see them become? Like, what's your vision for NFT.NYC 2020?
Yeah, I want to see stuff that is really interactive and experiential when people are there. Like, we're all talking about creating these virtual worlds and these virtual experiences that are going to mean something to our real lives, and getting people together who are involved in the space in one place to actually be able to participate in it and experiment in that way, I think is the way we're going to find out what works and what doesn't, especially in the early days. Right. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
And for your company, December 31st, 2019, the end of this year,
yeah.
Like, what thing or things do you and your company want to accomplish this calendar year that you'd say at the end of the year, gosh, that was a real success this year?
Yeah, integration with games. So our SDK is going to be free and open source. That comes out in probably about a month, and we have some games that have been backlogged, like in our alpha stage, in our private alpha program. So those are going to be ready to go. We'll probably be able to release, I'm expecting, like one a quarter, which should be pretty exciting. But we're hoping that as we get those sort of out there, that there's going to be other projects that start building with the SDK, maybe without our help. Of course, we're willing to help, but yeah, just hoping that it builds momentum. So that's the biggest thing, yeah. Okay,
great. And is there a question you wish I would have asked you that I didn't? Is there something you want to tell us that I didn't set you up to do so?
Oh man, I guess we could talk about like some of the. I like the question, like what you think is going to happen like in a couple years out. Yeah. We could probably even take the whole industry in that direction, kind of like go deep into the future.
Yeah. So for context, for those that just tuned in, I'm speaking tonight, doing the final keynote called NFT 2024, kind of 5-year predictions of this industry, and I'm seeking you and all your peers to kind of inspire me so I can absorb everything and then bring that tonight. So let's go out. Like 5 years, what are you thinking for this industry?
5 years, let's see, probably, 5 years out, we're going to see people caring a little bit more about the collectibles. I think realistically what we're going to see is we're not going to see like super complex economies in games yet. I think that's actually super hard to do and takes a lot of time, and it's almost an emergent property out of video games and virtual worlds. But what will probably happen for starters is we're going to have something that will look like a true ownership minimalism, where it's worth just tokenizing the stuff in the games and allowing the players to sort of figure out their own institutions that are very ad hoc. Because when you look at video games now, the most interesting content is the stuff that players come up with on their own. It's stuff that the designers left out, they forgot to do. They never thought that players would need that. And the players kind of come together and they say, hey, maybe we should do this ourselves. And so I think just getting assets in the hands of players is going to be critical, and they'll start opening up their own smart contracts, and we'll see the starts of probably some kind of really rudimentary like governance models that eventually I think will be extrapolated out into the larger blockchain ecosystem. But I think we'll see the experimentation there in video games, and so yeah.
That's great. And I'll go, this will be a final question. Yeah, sure. Let's go back way back,
Yeah.
to a different time where people had a different perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe more of a legacy perspective.
Sure.
Right? So whether it's an artist writing a book that went on for millennia to make an impact, or it's a painter that paints a painting that, right, they never saw really the fruit of that painting being sold for $100 million. Right. It was the investment of their life and time that was manifested over time. But the easiest one is castles, right? So if you take the kings of old, they would have a vision. We're going to build the castle on this hill. That castle might take several hundred years to build. So they're committing their life, their grandchildren, their great-great-grandchildren, and they'll never actually see that castle. They'll suffer for the castle. They'll give their money up for the castle, their people up for the castle. They'll face hardship and adversity for the castle. But it's all for the vision of what is to come for their region, their people, humanity, whatever. For you, in your career, with your time, what castle are you building and why?
Damn, that's a really good question. Yeah, so I just had an awesome conversation over at F Denver this last weekend with some guys over there. And the thing that we were talking about is what blockchain can kind of bring to humanity potentially is something that looks like a trustless society, in the sense that like we worry so often about different bad things that could always happen to us, and what kind of mind does that put us in? It's a very defensive point of view. And so by building systems that are slightly more robust, more democratic, more fair in some sense, where we feel trust in it, or we don't even have to feel trust, I guess, it works. What does that do like across even just a couple generations in terms of like freeing up extra energy to consider new possibilities of like how to live and feel and things like that? So anything that we can do now, like right now we're just working on like the primitives to be able to even make that a possibility for future generations. So that is for sure like something that's worth focusing on. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate it, Ian.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for your attention. We're going to roll a real clip video and be right back with another interview.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, cool.